Welcome, everyone. I am Chris Gore. This is Film Threat on a Friday. I hope you're doing well. Lots to talk about today, including my adventures with Star Trek here. I have to show you this. I have a story to tell. And we will discuss it. Alan Ng is on the show today. We're going to be talking about the new Evil Dead movie, Evil Dead Rise. In addition, Nefarious. Yes, we're reviewing Nefarious. And plus, Picard Season 3. We're going to get into it. The season finale of Picard for the third season is here. And I have a lot of thoughts. Alan is waiting in the wings. Ms. Pico Coffee is modding. She's helping us in the background. I hear a lot of typing. I assume work is being done. All right, get ready, folks. Get ready for your weekend. It's Film Threat on a Friday. And also, wait, you know what? I'm going to kick it off with a rant. Oh, just get ready for this rant. You are going to, you have to hear this. You have to hear this. Alan Ng.
Hey.
How you doing, man?
By the way, we are live on Rumble.
Oh my God. So yeah, we just for those that if you use Rumble, I've started using Rumble a little bit more because some of my favorite YouTubers do additional content on there. That's not something that we've decided to do yet, but we have plans for the future. So we have been talking to the people at Rumble. We have a Rumble. In fact, I screenshotted a couple weeks ago, we crossed the 569 subscribers milestone on Rumble. So I will post the link. You could just go to Rumble and look up Film Threat. We are Film Threat on Rumble. We're closing in on 1,000, our first 1,000 subs, and we're monetized. They've been very easy to work with. So it's basically laying a roadmap for the future. So check out Film Threat on Rumble. And I want to say hi to everyone watching us live on Rumble. We're going to be here live twice a week. Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern, and Fridays, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern. We are live, and we're posting our videos on Rumble. We have a very special video that we're going to drop on Rumble on Monday, which is pretty cool. A couple of things I want to bring up. One, the premiere of Attack of the Dock is tonight. Yes, that is tonight. The tickets are still on sale. There's a link in the description. Go to Attack of the Dock. That's attackofthedoc.com. You can still get tickets. There are tickets. I believe the 8 o'clock is sold out, but there are tickets for the 5:30 and 10:15 p.m. I will be there. Alan will be hosting the Q&A. I'm very excited. And anyone who shows up will get a collectible. I'm going to put myself full screen for a moment here, Alan. And you get a collectible mini poster right here. It is only available if you go to the in-person screening tonight at the Frida Cinema. Go to thefridacinema.org. Tickets are on sale. You'll get this really cool mini poster. Everyone will get that. I might even have some other stuff too, some other surprises, just so you're aware. And if you are a Kickstarter backer and you ordered a digital copy, check your email inbox. Check your email inbox. You will have received an email with your digital copy. This morning, I sent out the emails. Or go to, if you were a Kickstarter backer, check the Kickstarter, the latest Kickstarter update. Alan, you were a backer. I didn't even know you were going to do that.
Yes. Yeah, well, I had to get in on all that swag, that sweet Attack of the Dock swag.
Well, I'll give you some stuff tonight.
Yeah. By the way, do you want to credit the artist of the poster?
Yes, it's Yegya Elvis. Is Yegya in the chat? He watches the show. So Yegya reached out to me. I don't know. I don't know how I meet people sometimes. So, but ultimately I make myself accessible and I'm pretty easy to reach. So, but there are way too many ways to reach me. So I didn't realize, like, I don't check my Instagram DMs because I always think it's going to be from a bot or something bad, someone sliding into the DMs. But Yegia is the artist for the poster. He did a whole series of posters. This one we chose to print, and Yegia will be at the premiere tonight, and I can't wait to we've hung out at Yard House at our AMC Burbank 16 movie meetup. So get those tickets, attackofthedoc.com. Now, I have to pivot for just a moment because I was thinking about Wednesday's show. You know, we were talking about the season finale of The Mandalorian and what a colossal disappointment that has been. Season 3 finale of The Mandalorian has been a colossal disappointment. So much so that I have to. There's just no way around this. A freaking IKEA chair. The season 3 finale of The Mandalorian has been a colossal disappointment. Colossal disappointment in so many ways. Everything down to reuniting Grogu and Din Djarin for no apparent reason, even though Grogu's story kind of was concluded in the season finale of season 2. That was weird. Moff Gideon came back because we knew he would. Bo-Katan took over the show, the second half, and The Mandalorian has turned into a show not about the Mandalorian, but about the Mandalorian in the plural sense, as in it's about the Mandalorian as a people. Was it planned that way? I don't know. Rumors are abound out there. Rumors are abounding that Jon Favreau is out after this season, that, you know, he did his best. He did his best to make good Star Wars at Disney Lucasfilm. Alan, quick thoughts on that before I show you what I'm about to show you, which is going to shock you to the core.
Yeah, I feel bad for Jon Favreau. You just get the sense that he tried and he was blocked by those above him. And
right.
and they would like to get rid of him like they got rid of Gina Carano.
Why do you think? Okay, so that's, I think, part of the thing is that the Gina Carano thing, like a lot of people found it I think that may have been one of the reasons that he really didn't have full control over his show.
Yeah,
that I think is one of the reasons.
I think it's ego. I honestly think it's ego. I think the higher ups, not only at Disney but at Paramount with Star Trek, that these higher ups they cannot allow one person that is not in their league or in their circle to run away with the series, even though they do amazing things. I mean, I mentioned it before. Andor is probably the best Star Wars that Disney Plus is putting out. It's not the perfect, it's not the greatest, but it is clearly the best. But the thing is, Kathleen Kennedy and Dave Filoni are not involved with Andor, barely.
Right.
And you know what they did with Picard versus the rest of Star Trek. You know, they let one guy go out on his own and prove that he can score a home run with it, and now they're going to shut him down. And that's what it seems like is happening with Jon Favreau.
Well, I want to show you a piece of a video from one of my favorite YouTube channels. If you have not subscribed to Oral Knots, and I need to spell it for you, Oral Knots is AURAL Knots, like an astronaut. So Oral Knots has this channel, and they do these like weird videos where they'll mix up like Star Wars or something. And they posted a video this week, which I thought was very good. I'm going to play you just a little bit of this video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. And we may even talk over it a little bit, but I want you to see it because it proves a point. I'm going to go full screen with this in a second. So as we get it started.
Have you ever removed your helmet?
No.
Has it ever been removed by others?
Never.
This is the way.
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 Come on, Alan,
This is the way. This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way. This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the
All right.
To keep my immune system supported.
Get it. All right, forget that for a second. Okay. The video is here to make a point. And the point is this, very simply. They took every instance from The Mandalorian season 1, 2, and 3, and they kept score of exactly how many times the phrase "this is the way" was uttered. Would you like to see the final numbers? And care to guess for season 3? First of all, which season did characters say "this is the way" the most? Which season? 1, 2, or 3?
Oh, having not seen it, I will say 3.
Okay. And how many times would you say that people said "this is the way" in season 3? A guess. How about this? Under 100, over 100.
Well, when you put it like that, I'm going to go with the over then. Even though
Over. I'm going to give you the numbers.
Insanely unbelievable, but yeah, I'm going to go with the over just because.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, here we go. So here are the final numbers. Okay, not only did it go by the which character said, the armorer said "this is the way" 17 times in it. Mando said it 13 times. So these are the characters, by most times they said it. Paz Vizsla, I didn't even know that was the name of the character. 11. Bo-Katan only said "this is the way" 6 times. Wait, can you hear the lawn people in the background? No,
barely.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Okay, no joke. In season 1, "this is the way" was said 24 times. In season 2 and season 2.5, you know how they kind of broke it into kind of 2 segments of seasons. They said it 11 times in season 2. In season 3 of The Mandalorian, "this is the way" was uttered 187 times.
Oh my God.
So I don't know what that says. You know what it says? It kind of reminds me of when I used to write back in the day for other magazines, and they paid really well. I was fortunate enough to write for some magazines that paid $1 a word. This was back in the 90s when money was worth something. Those were, now they pay barely 10 cents a word, a penny a word. It's crazy what media outlets will pay. I'm talking about print magazines. It's nuts. But this is the score of the seasons of The Mandalorian, which I think just shows, have you run out of ideas when you've taken things? I don't think "may the force be with you" has been said more times than "this is the way" in even season 1, which was 24 times. It's utterly ridiculous. So
yeah, I would almost guess that in each of the movies, "the force is with you," "may the force be with you," it's probably said less than 10 times.
Well, it's usually once in a movie. It's a thing you could say once. You say "may the force be with you," or the one thing it's always said only once is "I've got a bad feeling about this." It's in all the movies. "I've got a bad feeling about this." But I thought I would point that out as a way to just a way to show, are they running out of ideas where they're just repeating things that are utterly ridiculous? I don't know, but it's yet again another kind of nail in the coffin, I think, of Disney Star Wars, is the repetitiveness. We're now, at first you thought "this is the way." That's kind of a cool thing to say, but they said it so much in the 3rd season that it just got utterly ridiculous. A freaking IKEA chair.
My thing is, it's such an uninspiring saying.
Right.
If you've seen the last episode of Picard, they make a big deal about these phrases. And I don't know, "this is the way." I mean, really, is that something we want to put on shirts? And I don't know. It just feels it should be better. Oh my God, this is Star Wars, for crying out loud.
All right, well, let's go to your comments and questions here. I want to get to that because you have a lot to say. I want to hear what you have to say. I know we kind of kicked things off with a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna get to Picard. We're gonna get to Evil Dead Rise. Want to hear your thoughts. Lord Thoth says, like, share, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. Join us as a member. One of us.
This is the way.
What was the name of the movie? One of Us. Do you know the name of the director? Because I do. I don't. You can't. No.
I know. I know it.
Don't.
I just can't think of it.
Lori Ormond says, "Good morning. Happy Attack of the Doc premiere day." Well, thank you for saying so. That's cool. Yeah. If you are a Kickstarter backer, you got your digital copy in your email box. Check your spam folder. If there's a problem on the Kickstarter, we posted a whole thing about it. Alan Horkin, does anyone know if Chris was able to talk his way into the special screening of Picard? Oh, coming up later on the show. Chris is pre-focused this morning, says Goober. Sifax says, hey, Sifax, Film Threat Rise. See you at the dock tonight. Yes, my buddy Sifax is going to be at the premiere. I think he got tickets for the 10:15 show. Len Barnett says, hello, happy Friday. Mike MC Wong, Mike, you're way too generous. Mike bought me popcorn, bought me a salad yesterday, and I didn't even have to have any intimacy with Mike. Mike's a married man, by the way. Mike is a married man, and he's part of our movie meetup group of misfit movie nerds. We are misfit movie nerds. We need like a good name for our group. Mike, what do you think of that one? Misfit movie nerds? Should we get t-shirts? All right, cool. Too much talking in Nefarious. I was kind of underwhelmed. We'll get to it. Alan saw Nefarious. Yeah. I did not see it. Dark Sith 87 says, good morning. What are you, Australian? Good morning. Is that an Australian thing? I don't know. Thanks, Darth Sith 87. Spidey Sensei 72 just copped tickets to the new Evil Dead. Got to run in an hour. All good. I think you're good. We're going to get to it. But we're going to get to it. Prepare yourself. Patrick Lemire, ass or grass, no one in Picard season 3's for free. Goober says the new paint looks nice, Alan. He's going to get to it.
It's this weekend. I am set to tear all this down after the live stream.
Cool. Eric Stratton for 777. It's an old reference, a fun show, a fun YA show. Phineas and Ferb once did a whole show that makes fun of their own overuse of phrases. Hey, where's Perry? Yeah, that's great. I love when a show can do that. I don't think Star Wars can get meta, though. I think Phineas and Ferb can get meta, but not Star Wars. Fear the Turtle 21. No catchphrase, no matter how good, can survive being spoken that much. Even May the Force be with you would be unbearable if it was said that much. May the Force be with you is not said even close to This Is the Way. It just makes no sense. Nicholas Vargo for $4.99. Can't stay due to work, but had to pop in because I'll be at the 10:15 show. Hey, Nicholas.
Hey.
Say hi to me. I will be there. It's a really cool retro, like, independent theater. You'll see me. Just look for the guy with the hair and look for the guy who's taller than me that'll be near me.
Should mention there's parking. There's a parking structure behind the theater that you can park at.
And get there early. If you're there for the 10:15, get there early because there are some really cool bars and restaurants like walkable from the theater. And the marquee of the theater is going to say Attack of the Doc premiere on the marquee. So get pictures, post them on social media, tag at Attack of the Doc or hashtag Attack of the Doc. I would love it. Nicholas, see you there, man. Awesome. Patrick Lemire, it's like when you're word padding in a school essay. That's what I was going to say. Like, I used to, you do kind of word pad when you know you're getting paid per word, you word pad. It does feel like that. Patrick coming in hot with some comments. Love it. I don't even want good Star Wars anymore. I just want it to end. Not Pip Boy Gamer. Hey, I've met you. Andor was fine, but I prefer a more traditional take on Star Wars. Yep. Yeah.
I mean, Andor should not be the best thing. It should be a B story in the entire universe.
Right. Want Biscuit says, Chris, your thoughts on IKEA to open 17 new stores in America in $2.2 billion expansion. That's a lot more chairs. Yeah, it is. So I'm sure there'll be a Gore rant about that. Patrick Lemire says it's Disney side character, the male protagonist. Not Pip Boy Gamer goes on to say he confirmed it in an interview that season 4 is already written. Interesting. Well, Jon Favreau may have basically, he may be like out like he may have like fulfilled his contract, so it's like he's got other work to do, but once fulfilled, he's gone. We'll see. It is what it is. The nerd far away says, I'll go over to Rumble and hit the sub button for FT.
Yeah.
Please do go over to Rumble. We're just Film Threat on Rumble. We're trying to cross 1,000 subs. And we're
by the way,
close.
We should say that the big deal today was actually getting live on Rumble. We still have to figure out how to incorporate Rumble chats.
We will do that, folks. Please be patient with us.
Yeah.
We're new here. First time? Yes. But thank you, the nerd far away. I so wish I could come out to LA for Attack of the Doc, but well, dang it, love Chris and Alan. Well, you can get the movie on Monday. The movie will be available for purchase from anyone. You can just rent it for $2.99. That's like a super chat, but you get to see a movie for that. Or you can buy it on digital on Vimeo, or the Blu-ray comes out in July. I know a lot of people that are going to rent it and then buy the Blu-ray when it comes out in July. So thank you for that. Greasy Guido says, if you can't make the premiere, I'll be selling the poster for $69,000. Alan?
Oh, I'll sell it for $60,000. I'll sell it
from Atlanta to discuss the charges, and we welcome you. How did all of this trouble begin?
The last time I was in San Francisco, I got to go to the Walt Disney Museum, and they talk about 69.
Oh, well, let's talk about your tour. When are you leaving?
69.
And where are you going?
69.
We want to thank you for being with us today.
No,
Oh, is there something more you want to say that we...
69.
Thanks for reminding us of that. Every once in a while, we forget. Good luck on your tour. Thanks for being with us. I guess we're going to hear lots more.
69.
Okay, we're almost through your comments here. We're going to pivot and we're going to talk movies. Alan is such a bro, says Lee Kindler.
Aww.
Patrick Lemire, Alan kicked in
69.
What Biscuit?
Hey, do you not have enough? Do you not have enough of me?
What Biscuit says, might need a whole episode of Critics Court dedicated solely to Mandalorian. Started off strong, then hurled itself off a cliff. The court case begins on May 3rd, Wednesday, May 3rd. And I am considering, because there's so much stuff for us to cover, and I want to get your thoughts on this. I am considering adding a third weekly live show on our Film Threat YouTube channel on Mondays. I don't know what time yet. It might be Monday at like 1 p.m. I'm trying to find a window where not a lot of other people are live streaming. So it might be Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, maybe Monday Movie Mayhem or Monday Movie Madness. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And it's literally going to be a chill stream where we talk about other stuff. I want to talk about Beef. I'm halfway through the series. I'll finish it this weekend. Beef on Netflix is fantastic. And just having one live show. We have Critics Court, which is our, show about Star Wars. That's going to last like a couple months. And we may need to add a third show. Alan, I know I'm springing this on you.
What
do you think?
Like, all my Mondays are gone now.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's talk about it. Alan, we'll talk about it.
No, I
don't want to overtax you.
I'm up for it. It's just, when's that going to happen?
Maybe it'll just be me on Mondays and I'll just do like an hour, but just a way to catch up. And also I want to do a plug, Alan. We launched a Film Threat interviews channel. If you go to the Film Threat YouTube, we should connect it on Rumble. We should get these other channels on Rumble. Why can't we do that?
We can do that.
We can do that. I will do that. Could you remind me this weekend, Alan, to do this? So
sure.
we send me a river chat.
I know.
So we launched 2 new channels for Film Threat, a trailers channel. We launched a trailers channel where we just run new movie trailers every day. We do a new trailer. And then we launched an interviews channel and we posted our interview with Uwe Boll. And you can subscribe to it. It's just Film Threat interviews. And Alan did this amazing interview with Stephen Merchant that is absolutely incredible. So subscribe to Film Threat interviews. Check that out.
Yeah, that was my highlight last year. talking to Stephen.
No, it was great. It's a great interview.
I love it.
A few more.
He gave me a lot of time. I was surprised.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, oh, you think you've got like 10 minutes, and then you guys talk for like a half an hour. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So, Holy Wars asks, which shade of pink will you go with this time, Alan?
Eggshell pink.
Yeah. Here we go. Okay. I discovered Orlando Jones and Chris Gore on FX. That's funny. Yeah, I was on FX. I was on a show called The X Show. You can find weird clips of me on The X Show. And then I was on a show called The New Movie Show with Chris Gore. That was the name of the show. It was the actual name of the show. So there you go. Star Wars, Star Trek pattern. Do something cool to draw people back in, then triple down the suck. Looking forward to the Evil Dead Rise review. Hope it was groovy. Oh, you will. We're going to get into it in about 2 minutes. Chris Allen. Okay. Want Biscuits asks, Chris Allen, your thoughts on the upcoming writer's strike while Disney's about to fire 7,000 people next week? Disney's in trouble. Disney's in trouble. I hear rumblings within Marvel that they are pivoting hard with many of their properties.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say anything to betray any confidences, but internally there are major changes being made to Marvel. They realize that they've leaned hard into things that people are not responding positively to. It has affected numbers. It has affected box office. And you're about to see a hard pivot with Marvel, and a hard pivot means it's going to take about a year to sink in. I don't want to say anything more right now.
Yeah. By the way, did you see there's a post from James Gunn showing the script of Superman Legacy?
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah.
Jorge,
interesting timing to complete that script.
Yeah, exactly. Jorge says they transformed Star Wars from a franchise that when a new movie was released was a generational event to content for children on Disney Channel. You're right. It was this Star Wars movies were always event movies. You got to be there the first day. You're going to see the movie like 4 or 5 times in a theater minimum. You know, you would return. And now I think streaming is partly that, and lots of bad stuff has soured people on the brand. I believe they wrote season 4. Okay. Season 4 already because of the writer's strike, says Brew 1701. Interesting.
So maybe Favreau has some longevity with the strike coming up.
Jaeger says Filoni was made creative head for Lucasfilm Limited between season 2 and 3. It shows. Yes, there you are. Let's see. Disney hit an iceberg and it's sinking. Throw the activists overboard. I hear they make very good flotation devices. My kingdom for a film. Can we please talk about The Night Agent and how so many critics are praising it? And it's becoming one of Netflix's most watched shows when it's awful. Well, if it's awful, why would I want to watch it? I'm going to finish Beef this weekend, and I may check My Kingdom for a film, because you remember, I may check in on an episode of The Night Agent. How about that? All right. Let's pivot for a second. We're going to pivot because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Alan, we have stuff to talk about. Let's talk about Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise is effectively the latest incarnation of the Evil Dead franchise, created by producer Rob Tappert, Sam Raimi, the director, and of course, the beloved Bruce Campbell as Ash. I grew up watching the Evil Dead franchise. The first Evil Dead movie is a fantastic, fun, seriously taken film, while the second movie goes off the rails. My personal favorite is Evil Dead 2. Evil Dead 2 is a horror classic that leans into comedy, that has Bruce Campbell unhinged. To me, Bruce Campbell was born in that movie. He literally is. Bruce Campbell is Nicolas Cage on acid, if that can be, when you go full Bruce Campbell. And I love him. Like, in the Spider-Man movies when he has a cameo. I'm just a huge fan of Bruce Campbell. And confession here, I knew Sam Raimi, Rob Tapert, and Bruce Campbell back in the day. They had a little company where they made these small movies, and it was called Renaissance Pictures. It was in Ferndale, Michigan, not too far from where I lived in Royal Oak, Michigan. And Sam Raimi and Rob actually lent me a camera, a 16 millimeter Canon Scopic camera when I was a kid in college, and I shot a feature-length 16 millimeter movie, which is terrible, but I appreciate that they thought we're just going to help this kid out. And the great thing about knowing them back in the day, they made themselves very accessible, so I could interview them for Film Threat. So early issues of Film Threat, I have interviews with Sam Raimi, Rob Tapert, Scott Spiegel, Bruce Campbell. Love those guys forever. So, and just seeing their meteoric rise has been great. Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness, is a very different tone. It's less a horror film and more of a slapstick comedy with some horror elements. I still love Army of Darkness, but Evil Dead 2 is, to me, it's just a classic. Evil Dead Rise is very, very different. What is different about Evil Dead Rise? Well, let me tell you this. And I want to make sure I get the director's name correct here. It is directed by Leo Cronin, who is an Irish director. He's directed one film before this, and but apparently his pitch for this they loved. And originally, Evil Dead Rise was supposed to just be an HBO Max direct to streaming, but Zaslav thought it was so good and they had such good reaction in their test screenings, they decided to release it theatrically. So I think that says something. I think it says a lot about this film. It is very different than previous Evil Dead movies. Okay. Gone is the slapstick comedy. Gone is Bruce Campbell. Although Bruce Campbell has a minor cameo, it's more of an Easter egg on an old-timey record that is discovered and played. He is the voice on the record that summons the spirits. This happens in all the Evil Dead movies. In a way, I would call Evil Dead Rise a hard reboot into a very serious and incredibly dark territory. The tone is straight up. I mean, if you are a gore hound when it comes to loving horror, Evil Dead Rise will be your jam. There are a few moments of levity, maybe two in the entire movie. Other than that, it is horrifying. And why is it horrifying? It's the story of two sisters, one named Ellie, one named Beth. Ellie, played by Alyssa Sutherland, she has 3 kids. And I didn't even notice this when I was watching the film, but the 2 kids, she has 2 teenage kids and then a younger daughter who's got to be like maybe 10, 11 years old, or maybe even 9 years old, little kid. But the teenagers, I guess they're trans, and I didn't even notice it. Maybe you would notice by the haircut. Also, didn't care. And by the way, even though these characters are trans, there's nothing pushed. There's nothing lectured. They just happen to be. So I didn't notice it. I went to the bathroom one time, so I asked, like, did I miss anything? They just happen to be trans characters. And I guess there's like a quick line where but there's nothing. It doesn't feel like there's any sort of like pushing. They're not like constantly talking about being trans. Okay? So there you go. Alan, did your dog just make a comment?
Yes, she did.
Darn it.
I know.
In any case, so Ellie is visited by her sister Beth. She's kind of like, she works backstage at concerts, whatnot. She's going through some stuff. She's newly pregnant. She's got a young new life in her belly and visiting her sister for advice. Her sister is older, has the 3 kids. The 3 kids uncover this weird record and play this record that has, of course, Bruce Campbell hides his voice very well in this. In fact, not the first time Bruce Campbell's voice has been used in the last couple of years in a movie. In Dan Mervish's movie 18 and a Half, Bruce Campbell plays the voice of President Richard Nixon. So there you are. But once this record is played, a spirit embodies basically inhabits the body of the mother, Ellie, and all chaos ensues. She is effectively a dead husk of herself being manipulated by the spirits. So kind of like, previous Evil Dead movies. The spirit takes over, and then suddenly, all chaos ensues. What I am shocked. So then it's up to the sister Beth and the 3 kids to fight off the dead mom. And here's what's shocking about this. It's kind of like in any zombie movie when a character changes, but it's someone you love. I don't even know. I'm trying to think if I've seen a movie where like a mother of young children is basically the villain. And this is all in the trailer, by the way. there are going to be no spoilers for this review. I'm really telling you up basically through like the first act, just about 30 minutes in, which is all in the trailer anyway. The mom then begins going after the children in an effort to, of course, have their bodies possessed by this demon. It is, and this is saying something, the gore in Evil Dead Rise, it may be as gory as previous as Evil Dead 2. Having said that, because the movie is more serious, it's more shocking. And the fact that there are children involved, doubly shocking. The audience was kind of, in a way, traumatized, but applauded at the end. You are in for a journey. I do think, though, that this is like, I have one minor quibble with, I have a quibble with this film in this sense. If you are going into this movie expecting this to be like previous Evil Dead movies, meaning Bruce Campbell's doing his shtick, or like there's like a new female lead and she's doing Bruce Campbell-y kind of shtick, that's not here. It's different. The director, Lee Cronin, did a different take on Evil Dead. He's taking it much more seriously as a franchise. In a way, this takes concepts from previous Evil Dead films and then roots them in a completely serious, much more serious way. The other thing is the setting. The previous Evil Dead movies, for the most part, took place in a cabin in the woods, right? This is not a cabin in the woods or at an S-Mart. This is in a dilapidated apartment building in a downtown area that's about to be condemned. They're the sort of last few residents that still live there. So it's not just a family. It's not just Ellie and her kids that live in this building. There are other neighbors. There's an incredibly shocking, really cool scene that all takes place. This whole scene plays out through the, when you look through a door and you've got the little, what do they call that? Why am I spacing? I'm pre-coffee, folks.
Describe the door again.
You're looking through the eye hole, the hole in the door.
The keyhole.
The keyhole. Is that
which we can't? I've never been able to look through a keyhole like that. So.
Yeah. Anyways, so there's like a whole scene that plays out over it that is horrifying. And the other thing is, once you see certain characters are certain type, here's what I'll say without saying anything. When you realize certain types of characters get killed, no one is safe. Because there's almost like this unwritten rule of like, well, they would never kill this person, or they would never kill this type of person based on their identity. Oh, this movie doesn't care. This film doesn't care. All bets are off. Everyone is fair game in spite of the cast, in spite of the identities of the people in the film. Does that make sense? Because there's almost like these unwritten rules of horror, like, like they talk about it in Scream and whatnot. Like, oh, this movie just doesn't, the tone of this is like, nope, we are going to you're going to see types of characters go through horrific things. And I will say, like, there are some shocking things where I did that, like put my hands up in front of my eyes. Yes, I actually did that, folks. So I'll say this. If you are a horror fiend, if you love gore, and you just got to know this is very different from previous Evil Dead movies. I think I didn't like that first trailer. The second trailer got me very interested in the film. I love this movie. The gore is, I love it. I recommend it with a warning. This isn't like previous Evil Dead movies. And it's incredibly gory, horrific, and shocking based on the kills. I mean, there are some just horrific kills. I don't want to ruin stuff, but there were like moments, and it's in the trailer, where someone's eating a glass and swallowing the glass, and you see the glass going down their neck, and the sound, I will say the sound design, incredible. Make sure to see this in a theater that's like a Dolby Digital or whatnot, like one of those theaters that just has epic sound. The sound will just definitely make you frightened and horrified. So
I will say that. I will say that I was going to see Evil Dead Rise. Then I saw the trailer for it, and then I said I was out. It just, yeah, I was expecting a little bit more levity to it, and clearly from the trailer, there's no levity in this film.
Yeah,
it's a straight out horror.
Yeah. So there you go. I'm recommending it. I am giving a strong recommendation for Evil Dead Rise, with a warning that it's incredibly gory and it's very different from previous films in the Evil Dead franchise. It's not jokey Bruce Campbell type of stuff. So buckle up for Evil Dead Rise. Yeah. Let's go to your comments.
I knew you would like it because Eric Weber hated it.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Eric Weber hated it. Oh my God. By the way, I played a joke on Eric Weber, and I have video. We'll talk about it later. Remind me of my Eric Weber story before the show. End of the show. I want to get to your comments and questions. Imperfect says original Evil Dead is the GOAT. I agree. And one quick thing that I really loved in the film. One quick thing I really loved was there's a little ode to the old classic Evil Dead, which is Sam Raimi used these things. He would take he wanted to do steady cam shots like in Rocky, but he couldn't afford a steady cam. So what did Sam Raimi do? He took a 2x4, big long thing of wood. He slapped his camera in the middle of this 2x4 and had two people run with it so that you'd have the center beam, and it had this look of like this sort of floaty, it was sort of the Spirit POV. They use it in the opening of the movie, and it's freaking awesome. It's a shout out to the original Evil Dead, and I loved it. Anthony says 3 is my favorite. Love the Army of Darkness. Fear the Turtle 21 also loved the Ash versus Evil Dead show. Can't believe they managed to get it made. Awesome show. Evil Dead 2 is one of my all-time favorite movies, says Not Pitboy Gamer. Yeah, no, I love Evil Dead 2. It was one of those ones that's like Evil Dead 2 is very watchable. On repeat viewing, it just gets better. So there you are. Gun Homac, Army of Darkness is Evil Dead Monty Python. Oh, that's a great way of looking at it. I like Army of Darkness. It's just very different in tone from Evil Dead 2. Bruce Campbell is also a regular voice in the Spider-Man video games, says Jimmy Cobb. And Christopher Moonlight says, Goober says negatives. Intro and outro were useless. Underdeveloped characters. Didn't need to be an Evil Dead movie. Positives. Great makeup and practical effects. The young daughter is a natural. That's true. But Goober's, what's so funny is I would agree with you, but you're right. If you didn't call this an Evil Dead movie, it could just be gory horror movie, right? You could just call it that. But I do think that having Raimi, Rob Tappert, and Bruce Campbell involved definitely elevated it. I don't think that the director Lee Cronin could have gotten this movie made if not for their support. So, but you're right, Goober, like I agree with you, and I liked it, if that makes any sense. Superhero movies are the best movies. Chris, even though this Evil Dead movie doesn't have the DNA of Evil Dead, putting that to the side, is this a great or at least good film? Yes, it's a great horror film. You kind of got to put horror films in a different category in a way. Like we judge them differently than like Tar starring Cate Blanchett. You can't judge them on the same scale. You judge movies differently, I believe, based on kind of, the genre and whatever. It's like Alan and I talk about this all the time. Like you can't put it on the same scale. Mm-hmm. So let me
ask you this. Is it a good Evil Dead movie?
It's weird. It's it doesn't feel, it feels like it owes something to Evil Dead. Like if you release this movie, you go, hey, this guy is ripping off Evil Dead, but it's like a different, how do I describe it?
An approach or a tone or a take on it.
This doesn't really give anything away, but it is like there are different books of the Evil Dead. This is a different book. Does that make sense? There are different Evil Dead books.
Well,
the
interpretation,
book of, the book of the no, the Book of the Dead. It's an actual physical thing in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Right, with all these like, so this is a different book, so it's a different tone. The things with everything with Ash, that's a different book. This is another book. You got to see the movie for that to. The first Evil Dead was too gory for me, but I still recommend it. Says Gandalf identifies as White Wizard. Jimmy Cobb, I'm a fan of serious horror. That's fine. Don't call it an Evil Dead movie. Call it something else. I mean, I was hung up on that when I first walked out of the theater. I'm like, this isn't an Evil Dead movie. It's a really good horror movie. It's not an Evil Dead movie. But we had like this 2-hour long conversation after with everybody. And it's just like, I kept going over parts I really loved. And like the whole, like just a lot of other things that like I thought were really good. And I might even go see it again. But you're right, Jimmy, see for yourself. See for yourself. So there you go. There you go. Spidey Sensei 72 says, am I going to regret buying my ticket? No way. Buckle in for a good time, but get ready. Like there's shocking things that happen. Here's another Perfect Q says, here's another difference. There's no final man like Bruce Campbell. There's a final girl, as if we don't get enough of that. No, it doesn't look, it's not. First of all, I know, but it's not like your typical girl boss stuff.
Yeah,
a lot of, there might be a girl, a female character fighting, but they're not nice to her. A lot of horrible things happen to people in the movie. That's all I'll say. So there you go. And Robert Paul Champagne has become a YouTube member. Well, thank you for that. Evil Dead Rise only cost $15 million. No wonder Zaslav wanted to get it out there and make a nice profit, says Patrick Lemire. Yeah, it's like, it's all on the screen. This movie was shot in New Zealand, and the two, what's weird is, like they cast like siblings in a movie and you're like, there's no way those people are related. The two women in this movie, you're like, oh, they're definitely sisters. They look so much alike. And they have this like shorthand. I thought the characters were very, they were really well-rounded. You got like the history of, little history of the mom, and she has these kids. The husband ran out. Like you've got the, but it's not like this men are evil kind of thing. It's just like marriage issues. She's got the 3 kids. The sister is now pregnant, visiting her sister to like, what do I do now? Like it's very human problems. And then all hell breaks loose. Perfect Q says, nah, no thanks. The subtle wokeness will increase if this movie is successful, says Perfect Q. I hear you.
Slippery slope.
What's weird is I didn't even notice it. And I'm just like, oh, whatever. I'm like, I didn't even notice it. But look, fair. If you've already got HBO Max, you're probably going to be able to see it in a month anyways. Killick 69 says, I don't know, Chris, I prefer Evil Dead when it used to be a cult classic horror movie, turned into a mainstream franchise, lost its appeal that made it, and what made it so unique. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think, is the Evil Dead about the Book of the Dead, or is it about Ash? And is it about the tone of that? It's
about Ash, because he's fun to watch.
So Evil Dead is not Evil Dead. It's
right. Sans Bruce Campbell, a proper Evil Dead movie should be centered around the Necronomicon, an extremely dark humor involving death and disincorporation. You're going to get that. But no Bruce Campbell. Latino Slant, Paulie, keyhole camera scene was brilliant. Yeah, that scene, that was awesome. The peephole haha coffee +1, says the real monkey rogue. And James Ricciuti for $19.99, also a member. Thank you, James. Evil Dead 2 and Return of the Living Dead were 1980s required punk rock viewing. Wish I could be at the premiere tonight, but I will watch Attack of the Dock on Monday. Have a great premiere tonight. Thanks, James. Thank you so much Really can't wait to hear what your thoughts are. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. There's going to be, I don't know. It could be divisive. It could be divisive. Robert Paul Champagne says, I love Gore, Chris Gore. Well, of course. Yes. Chris is selling this movie very well. I'm intrigued. Eyes, pink heart shape, says Jericho Leon, who's a member. It's just, you have to know what you're going. You have to know what you're getting going in. If you go to In-N-Out and order a cheeseburger, I know, like, I kind of know what I'm getting, right? Like with this movie, like you just need to know, no Bruce Campbell. It's Evil Dead in name, but owes something because of the books of the dead. It's much more gory and serious. It takes the concept much more seriously. And there is something very clever about the beginning and the end of the movie. I thought was clever in a certain sense. And I can't talk about it because it's a spoiler, but I really thought it's basically, it plays on your expectations. I thought it was very well done. Hey, Patrick Lemire, and it's 97 minutes. That's a plus. I love that. It's like, oh, it's a short movie. Toby Pogram says, as a kid, I loved The Army of Darkness. Had no idea it was a sequel to the Evil Dead movies. I watched them a few months later. I was so scared and shocked by the difference. Yeah, the first Evil Dead is very serious. It's much more serious. The problem is there were laughs in the original Evil Dead that were unintentional due to, I just think that like I think that Bruce Campbell, Sam Raimi, Rob Tappert as filmmakers, they love, I mean, there's this term they have called fake shemps. Does anyone know what a fake shemp is? Does anyone know what a fake shemp is? It's in the credits of all of the Evil Dead movies and other movies that Sam Raimi has made. These are in jokes. Sam Raimi loves the Three Stooges. Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, that whole group. I mean, they grew up together in like junior high and made Super 8 movies. I've seen their early Super 8 movies and the movies they made in college that have never been released. They made a feature-length Super 8 film in college, which is crazy that they did that. But they're just a lot of in-jokes to themselves. But there is a very big, when they realize that there were unintentional laughs in the first Evil Dead, they're like, well, let's just lean into that. Let's just make a comedy because we already love comedy. So the second movie, Evil Dead 2, just was full on comedy. All right, I'm going to get through these. We're going to get through these. My professor told me if you want to become a director, watch The Evil Dead. The camera work is amazing. 100% agree. Goober says, I didn't like them recycling old classic lines badly. Yeah, that didn't bug me. Fake Shemp equals stand-in stuntman cameo, says Guy Vizard. Correct. And Sam Raimi just likes to use his friends as fake Shemps. So if you put up your hand, the monster can't get you. It's just good science, says Patrick Lemire. Is Evil Dead the way, says All Twisted Up. It's a I don't think it's as gory as Terrifier 2, but it is the goriest film I have seen in recent years made by a major studio, which is Warner Brothers / New Line Cinema. Yeah. Oh, and
Terrifier 2 is more about torture.
Yeah.
Than it is about gore.
Yeah. So Fear the Turtle 21, are we talking Terrifier 2 levels of gore here? Because that's excellent. Yes. It's on that level. Not, I feel like it just falls short, but it's on the same level. Lubitsch Touch Me says, Bruce Campbell did the fog work on the first movie. Saw his live commentary at Bruce Fest for the movies. Very enlightening. And just a few more comments here. We're going to get through them. We're sort of cutting off the comments here. The Real Monkey Rogue says, I would have thought the reboot would have found the formula worked and returned to it. Ah, well, it's different. It's different. You know what it is? This is weird. Star Wars is this way and Andor is a different tone. The original Evil Dead was a certain way, and this is like Andor. What Andor is to Star Wars, Evil Dead Rise is to the original Evil Dead movies, which were more comedic. Does that make sense? Tell me what your thoughts are. And,
by the way, there's some great comments on Rumble, and unfortunately, we cannot incorporate those yet. So just want to acknowledge you.
Okay, yeah. Rumble. You can read the Rumble comments. Read a couple of the Rumble. Okay, but let me get through these, and then Alan, will you read the Rumble comments real quick? And thank you for everyone watching live on Rumble. We're going to be here every week, 9 a.m. Pacific time, and 1 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesdays, 9 a.m. on Fridays. Mike MC Wong says Sutherland is extremely tall. She was at Burbank AMC when we were there last week. Yeah, that's the one of the lead actresses. She's amazing. Super chat here from Subtle Deviancy for 5. Apparently Kyle Brink telling white people to leave D&D affected that movie, as Davina stated. WOTC killed Dungeons & Dragons. Hail all 69ers. Well, there you are. And Jimmy Cobb says, I think the better question is, what about this film is even remotely like an Evil Dead movie? Well, the Book of the Dead and the possession and the rules, sort of the rules as set forth in your Evil Dead cinematic universe. Final comment here on YouTube. Christopher Moonlight Production says the Evil Dead franchise has never disappointed me, from the movies to the TV show. My daughter really wants to see this one, but I hear there are child deaths, and that's a bit much for me. Thoughts? How old is she, and is she a true horror fan? What you may consider doing is waiting until it's on streaming and watching it then, because I do feel that horror is less intense if you're at home on your comfy sofa and you've got the surroundings. When you're in a movie theater in pitch black, I don't know. I think this movie is definitely not for anyone under the age of 13, 12. I don't know. You also my daughter saw some horror films when she was a kid and she loved them, certain types of horror films. So you kind of know your own kid, Christopher. So I would say, I'll just say this. There are characters you don't expect to die in a horror movie, because it's like, well, that's a type of person they would never kill in a horror movie. And then, it's off the rails. It's off the rails. So Alan, quick comments from Rumble before we move on and pivot to another movie.
I'll just do 3 here. Real long last name. Sounds like Evil Dead remake is a cash grab on the franchise name, done by Wokies trying to make horror, just like Evil Dead remake was. Let's see. Esberg 987. Alan being a wimp. Yeah, I'm not going to see this movie. And let's see. And then Esberg also says Chris going woke. So yeah, you guys are meaner on Rumble.
The Rumble comments. Look, I'll say this. Evil Dead Rise is not woke. There are 2 kids in and it's sort of like, well, they have like weird, I just thought like, oh, they just have haircuts of kids that age. Give me a break. People on Rumble have not been watching us long enough. Look at some of our past videos. I'm not going, I'm being trolled on Rumble now. I'm being trolled on Rumble. Love you guys. Okay. Appreciate that.
I think wokeness has a lot to just calling things out, making a point, lecturing us.
There's nothing like that in this movie. No character stops and says, well, as a trans person, it's like, it just doesn't matter. They have, I don't know. See for yourself. See for yourself. It's sans lecturing. So there you are. And Imperfect says, does Alan's daughter like it? I don't think Alan's daughter.
She won't see it. She will not see it.
She's not a horror fan. I get the sense she's not a horror fan. So, all right, Alan, are we ready? Are we ready to pivot?
Yes.
Are you sure we're ready to pivot?
Are you looking for it? Is that
Oh, you know what I want to talk about? We've got this new channel, Film Threat Trailers, which we will get set up on Rumble, our Film Threat Trailers and Film Threat Interviews channel. I promise you we'll get those set up on Rumble. But I wanted to let you know that there is a movie that got a series called Incognita's Infamous Adventures. We just covered it. We don't cover a lot of web series, and I think that we should really probably do that a lot more. So Incognita's Infamous Adventures, it is on, just did a review of it on wait, can I even play this?
Stout superhero.
No.
Working a boring day job.
I don't think I can play this for the song stuff. But Incognita's Infamous Adventures, the trailer is out. We just covered the web series. This is another example. Here's why I wanted to talk about this. Here's why I wanted to talk about this. I want to talk about this because we here at Film Threat have been encouraging you, make your own stuff, make your own stuff, make your own stuff. Well, this is just another example of an indie filmmaker making their own stuff. Incognita's Infamous Adventures got a good review on Film Threat, and people always ask us. So go to filmthreat.com, the website, check out the review for this. There are links in the review. I'll be the links in the review to see it. And then and just keep watching us because we're always throwing out the indie film recommendations. That's what I have to say on that.
I will say you do have to be a fan of musicals to like this one.
It's like, yeah, it's like a musical. I don't want to say parody as much about.
No, it's a straight on. It's a superhero rom-com musical, and so yeah, there's a very specific audience for this.
Exactly. So there you go. I wanted to give it a quick shout out. All right, now we're gonna pivot yet again. We're pivoting. Let's be by popular demand. People have been asking for this. So let's get Alan's review of Nefarious. How would you define exploitation, Alan?
Exploitation, gratuitous.
That wasn't the video that I meant to choose. But
by the way, you are the one who said dilapidated. So
did I say dilapidated? Oh,
yeah.
All right, Alan, tell us about Nefarious.
Yes. So I would have completely. There we go. I would have completely passed on Nefarious if it weren't for the fact that you, our viewers, wanted me to watch it, and I finally did, and now I get why. Not only that, I get why it's, I believe it's like 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, yet with a 98% audience score. This is an interesting movie. It's basically Sean Patrick Flannery. He plays, let me get the guy's name here. He plays Nefarious. He's a criminal on death row. He's about to be executed. Jordan Belfi plays the psychiatrist who has to go in, deem him worthy, mentally worthy of being executed. And when he goes in, they have this meeting. We find out that Nefarious is actually a prisoner who is possessed by a demon. And I'm going, okay, this is interesting. And now it becomes this battle between the psychiatrist and this maybe demon. And they kind of go back and forth. And then midway through, it talks about how this is a talking movie. It's a conversation, and it gets into the idea of demons and angels and how their place in the world. And about a third of the way through, I realized, oh my gosh, this is a faith-based movie. And so, yeah, I know. So this is a rated R horror faith-based movie. It is written and directed by the guys who brought us God's Not Dead and God's Not Dead Part 2. This is a full-on Christian movie. And this what was weird to me is, I don't know why I feel like I'm the one breaking this news, but everyone that I've seen talk about it, and when I've seen it in interviews and things like that, they dance around this fact that no, this is faith-based. This is about Christianity. This is about, I would liken this movie essentially to a modern day Screw Tape Letters. Because it really is about this discussion of evil, how evil has pervaded the world and seems much more intense, and how this, how the world of demons kind of falls into that. There's an interesting, because I will tell you, at about the 1/3 mark, the discussion becomes about abortion.
What?
Yeah, I know. Because at one point, this demon tells the psychiatrist that he's going to commit 3 murders before he's killed, and before the execution. And the first one is by encouraging his girlfriend to get an abortion. So there's the first murder. And so let's just break it down like this. I personally, as a Christian myself, as one who went to seminary, I have a full-on divinity degree. I actually like this movie. I like the discussion of the movie. Like I said, it reminds me. It's not the Screw Tape Letters, but it reminds me of the Screw Tape Letters in the sense of, where the protagonist is essentially a demon. Yeah, and so in the horror elements, it opens with a mysterious death. There are certainly things, the way the film is shot, the discussions that Sean Patrick Flanery has, the way he acts, some of the movements he makes gives it a horror tone. But it's pretty much a discussion about good and evil. I will say this: Sean Patrick Flanery, he's really good in this movie in terms of he plays a guy who is possessed by a demon and kind of switches in and out. And the way the little nuances about his performance are really good. But all that said, I do have I don't know if I have to warn you it's a faith movie, but it is, and I think that's why people are reacting to it. When I got on Rotten Tomatoes, a lot of the comments were basically this is Christian propaganda.
But it's okay. So well, quick question then. I first of all, there's a lot of propaganda going around when it comes to film these days. You can hardly watch a documentary without it being weighted one way or the other. There's two questions I have. One, I don't mind if something's faith-based. You know what I mean? Like, I also feel like there's a sad lack of religion in films where it could be necessary. I remember watching movies like The Omen when I was a kid and being incredibly frightened because that's all in the Bible. It could happen. It's going to happen. And then in addition to that, so it's faith-based, that doesn't dissuade me. But the one thing I hear, it's basically the entire movie is two people talking in a room.
Yep.
Is that true?
Yes. I would say it's 90% of the movie.
Wow.
But it's, like I said, I'm a big fan of Screw Tape Letters. That's what reminded me of it. I was fairly engaged. It's the conversation is well researched. Let's go back to the abortion thing. They liken abortion basically to the old times when the pagans were killing babies. So they liken abortion to that, this pagan ritual. How, let's just say I've seen plenty of videos of actresses who have great careers and they all thank the abortion they had early on in their life. And then you get from killing babies and you take the next logical step to now we're mutilating children. This is kind of the theme of what they're trying to get behind, the subtext of what they're getting behind in these conversations.
Well, all right. Would you recommend this film?
Yeah, I would recommend it. I think, if I were, it's a faith-based movie. And so whatever your attitudes toward that are, that's certainly going to affect the way you view.
Well, I mean, I saw the trailer and it looks really intense. I mean, I get the premise of it, right? It looks super intense, but let's go to your comments and questions here from people in the chat. Snakes and Funerals, who's a member, says, yeah, make your own stuff. That's my point. Every week we try to feature little small indie movies. Nefarious is effectively an indie movie, a smaller indie movie that's gotten a theatrical release.
I mean, any faith-based movie is an indie
at this point. Yeah, faith-based movies are all indie movies. Gun Home X says Alan was bullied into watching. I think it's good that Alan saw it because he's the right person to review it.
Well, I mean, I gave it to two of our writers. They didn't like it. I was going to pass on it, and people just kept bringing it up. So it was like, okay, let me take a look.
We're giving our viewers what they want. Alan going to a movie he may or may not like. Jericho Leon says, interesting our Rotten Tomatoes score ratio. The Nerd Far Away says, Nefarious. Okay, y'all, to be honest, I pivoted away from horror. I rarely watch it now. I still love the discussion, though, and I can make an informed choice thanks to you guys. Well, there you go. Thank you. Imperfect says, Catholic horror has always been my favorite horror subgenre. I would agree.
You might like the Pope's Exorcist then.
Gandalf identifies as White Wizard. Moonlight Productions, congrats. I made my own film, My Apocalyptic Thanksgiving. Hey, My Apocalyptic Thanksgiving. We were on Film Threat, not just on Film Threat, got a good review on the website and all of that. Good to see you in the chat, sir. The nerd far away. I may give Nefarious a try after your comments, Alan. As Christians, we can't ignore the existence of evil. I'm interested in this take on it. I'm actually interested also, like, even though your review is a little mixed, I'm interested in, plus because I have the AMC A-list, I can just go see it. So the Common Nerd says, I've got the directors of Nefarious coming on my show next week. Next Wednesday. I've had 2 of their actors on, John Can and David Grayson. Well, congrats.
Eric July had Sean Patrick Flannery on talking about it. And then we were actually offered Jordan Belfi at one point. Yeah,
we do interviews. Look at our interviews channel and look at there's a whole interviews playlist on the Film Threat YouTube channel. Aaron Burleson for 10. I've been wanting more movies that are faith-based, that are still mainstream action, thriller, horror. If you read the Bible stories aren't cheesy. Everything is fine stories.
Yeah, you don't tell these Bible stories to children. That's the thing.
Yeah, they're horror films. It's Alan Certified Fresh, says Fletcher Williams, I Suck at Games channel. And Toby Pigram, who's a member, says, as a Christian and a pastor, I'm so tired of the propaganda films. I wish we would get back to the C.S. Lewis Tolkien types of stories. I agree, Alan. Screwtape Letters is great. Would be great to adapt. And the nerd far away goes on to say,
let me just say this about Screwtape Letters. If you want a good version of it on Audible, John Cleese reads the Screwtape Letters, does an amazing job.
The nerd far away says, an unfortunate part about some of the horror that touches on faith is that the good news gets left out. There's always hope. The Common Nerd says, the Bible is very rated R. You've sold me. A rated R.
The Bible is rated R.
The Real Monkey Rogue. Alan has sold me on it. Thanks, man. John Flera. Mel Gibson shows you that Christian art can be masterful. Alan is a man of faith, respect, says not Hit Boy Gamer.
I will say the way demons, the whole demon realm is presented, falls pretty much in line with what my background with Christianity.
Yeah, and Fletcher Williams says, so instead of my dinner with Andre, it's dinner with Satan.
Yeah.
Subtle deviancy for 2. Alan, do they tie Nephilim in as demons' creation?
I don't know. No, they go to Legion, basically, the Legion aspect of demons. The Demon Legion. That's what I'm saying.
There you go. Derek Davis says, I am going to see this for sure. I love discussions about evil and how it persists. Well, I love the premise of 2 guys in a room and before our conversation's done, 3 people would be murdered. So the trailer hooked me. In fact, I actually didn't finish watching the trailer. I watched the first half and I'm like, stop. I don't no. I want to. Yeah.
What's funny is when I watched Nefarious, the Evil Dead Rise trailer came up, and that's when I decided I'm not seeing that.
Yeah.
It was full on horror trailers leading into Nefarious.
Wes Ray says, I'd like to see a faith-based Die Hard in a church type movie. That would be okay. That is actually a very good idea. Some indie filmmaker out there, Die Hard in a church. But Alan has to be in the movie. You got to put Alan in it.
How do I get it? Yeah.
Alan will be in the film. But I don't think you're going to make it till the end, Alan. Alan will. Okay. Alan does improv comedy at the National Comedy Theater in San Diego. Alan will be in your indie movie with one caveat. He's got to be, he cannot live to the end. He's got to be like Sean Bean. You cannot live to the end of the movie.
Kill me. Yeah, I do not want to appear in your sequel.
Yeah. So the Common Nerd for 5 says, I've got the directors.
Oh, you got that one already.
We got that one. That's cool. Aaron Butler says, or Aaron Burlinson, my apologies, for 10. I've been wanting more. I think I read this one already. I read that one already. Okay, we're good. Okay, cool. All right, time to pivot, Alan. It's time to pivot. We're going to talk about our next movie for today. And when we pivot, what I like to do is hide the pivot with a little video. So please, folks, listen to Caesar.
Humans, why are you not reading Film Threat magazine? You filthy humans. You should know your place, and your place is to be reading this magazine. Yes?
All right, Alan, you also saw another movie directed by Guy Ritchie. It's a military action movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal called The Covenant. Alan, what did you think of The Covenant? Tell us your review.
Yeah, let's be clear. It's Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
What did I say?
The Covenant. No, it's everything. It points out this is Guy Ritchie. The title.
The title is Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
Yeah, the official title is Guy Ritchie's The Covenant.
Oh my God. Are you saying I have to change this now?
Yeah, well, let's be real. There are 100 movies called The Covenant.
Is that why?
I would tell you that all 100 movies have nothing to do with this version of The Covenant.
Why would you call it that then? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, there's a reason why it's called The Covenant. But if you've seen the trailer, you pretty much know the entire plot of this movie. Jake Gyllenhaal plays Sergeant John Kilney. He's in Afghanistan. His role of his team is to seek out and destroy basically IUD factories, bomb factories, and we've all lived through the Afghanistan conflict. They would go into cities. What?
Not personally, but
yeah, I know. But they would go into towns, they would interrogate the locals, but in order to do that, they needed interpreters. And the one that Jake Gyllenhaal just brings onto his team, his name is Ahmed, played by Dar Salim. And so basically, this is kind of one of those military films that we haven't seen in a long time. It's from start to finish. It's this military thriller. It's a true story. But they're going. They find out that there's two locations where they're making bombs. Going to the first location, Ahmed realizes or feels something's fishy going on because he knows the area. Tells the team to stop, and they look and they realize that they were about to head into an ambush. So Ahmed saves them from that. The next location, they go to the bomb factory. They actually find it, but now the Taliban are there, are just minutes away from attacking them. And in all that, John Kilney's team all die, except for John and Ahmed. And so the bulk of the movie is basically Ahmed. At one point, Kilney gets injured, and it's basically Ahmed dragging Kilney from basically all across Afghanistan from the bomb factory to his base. And essentially it's a story of him saving his life. And if you know anything about what went on with Afghanistan, especially recently, we sort of kind of pulled out and left all these interpreters there who basically became traitors to their country by helping the Americans. And Kilney, when he gets home, he finds out that Ahmed has not been given a visa and is still in Afghanistan, and in fact is the number one most wanted man in Afghanistan. And so Kilney has to go back in and rescue him without the help of the military. True story. This is I really like this movie. I like war movies. I like military movies. This falls right in line. The fact that it comes from Guy Ritchie, yes, there are probably more bullets fired than was actually fired in the actual event, but it's not anywhere near your typical Guy Ritchie levels. People do die, but not to your typical Guy Ritchie levels. And it's got a little bit of the tropes where clearly the Americans are better sharpshooters and can handle guns better than the Taliban. But very thrilling. I would say that the bulk of this movie, about 70% of the movie, is about the two of them getting back to the base to find safety, and the back end kind of is it is that rescue mission. It's in terms of action, it's just wall to wall action. It's almost relentless. I think that's maybe its only negative is that the action keeps going on, and the suspense is just constantly being built. But in terms of being pro-military, pro-American, this is a great movie to watch.
All right.
And it calls out. It basically calls out what we did to the interpreters in leaving Afghanistan last year.
Someone needs to call it out. That was I remember when that happened. The summer when the horrific footage on the news was it was awful. It was awful. There's really no there's ways about it.
As they point out, there were thousands who were interpreters for Americans. When we pulled out, 300 of these interpreters and their families were murdered by the Taliban, and the rest are all in hiding.
Horrifying. Let's go to your comments and questions in the chat, and we thank you to the people who are watching on Rumble Live. Derek Davies says, I don't know, I've loved some Guy Ritchie movies, not much lately. Fletcher Williams says, that looks good, but is Alan getting some Guy Ritchie money?
I will say this is the most grounded Guy Ritchie movie you'll ever see.
By the way, Alan barely gets my money.
I know.
Say that. I'm kidding. Davina Duckworth, not Guy Ritchie's Alien Covenant.
Yeah. By the way, the title Covenant comes from it comes from the theme of this movie, which is we are all people and we all need to be there for each other. And for this interpreter to have sacrificed his life to save John Kilney's life, that's where the Covenant is born. And that's why Kilney was compelled to go back in and rescue the man who rescued him.
Gotcha. It's okay to laugh says, so it's 2023 Black Hawk Down?
Yes, on a smaller budget.
Right. The Real Monkey Rogue says, Alan will write a film called 69 Bullets. It'll be a faith-based Kill Bill. I support this, by the way. Vengeance is a real part of faith and could be a very deep story or just fun. Snakes and Funeral says, IED, you mean IUD? Birth control device? Possible.
Yes, the Taliban birth control factories.
Yeah, I think we got that comment already. Manny Lamont says it has Guy Ritchie-isms.
Again, it's probably the most grounded Guy Ritchie film, but there are glimpses of it. Yes.
Yeah. Toby Pegram says, I love the plot, but never been a Guy Ritchie fan. I may check it out when it hits streaming. It does sort of suck that we have this thing in our heads of well, it's in the theaters. I don't know. Do I wait for streaming? Yeah, why not? So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm on the bandwagon of, at this time, indie films, good films need support in the theaters. And so I would say if you can, go to a theater and see it.
Yeah. The Common Nerd, it's basically based on a true story. There was a few of those kinds of stories that came out after we abandoned them there. Lots of people helped them get out. Mm-hmm. And Patrick Lemire, just a few more comments here. No, Fletcher Williams, but is the Team America theme song played at the end?
It should have been. It should have been.
Wes Ray, as good or better than Michael Bay's 13 Hours?
It's, I would say, less complicated than 13 Hours.
Okay.
It's the budgets for the two were clearly different. This one had much less money.
Cool. Ryan Landis, good soundtrack?
It's an interesting soundtrack. It's not something I think you're going to listen to.
Gotcha. And Patrick Lemire on our last comment here. If you like this, check out Dana Gould's Hanging with Dr. Z channel. He does Dr. Zaius as a jaded 70s hipster. We have a lot of, we basically play videos to hide that Alan and I are doing something in the background, just so that you're not bored with us saying, Alan, can you blah, 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 blah. That's that little insider secret of the Film Threat Livecast is that Alan and I talk to each other with stuff during the show. But it's time for another pivot. We're going to talk about something that I'm super excited to discuss. I know Alan is also. He's all caught up. We're gonna talk about. Wait, there's a new video that has been uploaded here. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh no!
Should we just look at it and take a risk?
Okay.
All right.
Ah,
Okay. Well,
you missed your calling.
I can do scat. You guys didn't know? I got my dark glasses on. I go to jazz clubs and I do scat. That is clearly the work of Glenuccio, who is our intrepid producer working behind the scenes. And he does our clips. He's an amazing editor. He actually did some work on Attack of the Doc, believe it or not, his first IMDb editor credit. So congratulations, Glenuccio. We thank you for that. But it's time now to talk about Picard season 3. Wait, I want to edit this. Season 3. Okay, I want to make sure that people know we're discussing the finale. We are not going to do spoilers at the beginning of this conversation. We're going to get into spoilers before the end. You will get a fair warning before we get into spoilers for Picard season 3. I promise you. But I want to talk overall impressions of the entire season. Just my quick impressions. I love this. Why haven't they been doing this with Star Trek all along? I attempted to watch the first 2 seasons of Picard, found it utterly ridiculous, leaning into all the woke tropes, like the key to everything is this young woman, girl boss stuff, lectury, wokey nonsense. It was everything that's wrong with modern entertainment can be seen in the first 2 seasons of Picard. It's an embarrassment. Terry Matalas, who has been involved with Star Trek a long time. He also did the 12 Monkeys television series, if you are familiar with that, comes along as a lifelong, not just Star Trek fan, Star Trek The Next Generation fan. Terry Matalas was a PA on the original Star Trek The Next Generation series. This guy lives, breathes, eats Star Trek. It's in his DNA. Comes along and somehow Terry Matalas is thrown, you just do season 3 of Picard, do whatever you want. He basically made a 10-hour Star Trek The Next Generation movie it's better than any of the Star Trek The Next Generation movies, including First Contact. Pays tribute to, there's so many you don't need to know the Easter eggs, but there are all sorts of little Easter eggs and nods to previous episodes, including the very first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, including nods to characters like Deanna Troi, including nods to legacy characters from the original Star Trek series from 1966. And this shows you how you take an existing franchise, respect the legacy characters, introduce new characters like Captain Shaw, played by Todd Stashwick, the actors who played Geordie LaForge, LeVar Burton's daughter. Geordie LaForge has 2 daughters in this series, and they're really good, well-rounded characters. It's it respects these characters in such a way. And also people act like people who are at Starfleet, meaning it's not all about how I feel about something. No one cares how you feel. Shields up, arm photon torpedoes, turnabout. I don't care about your feelings. Starfleet is a military organization. Modern Star Trek is garbage, with the exception of this. This is an anomaly. I'm not sure I've got faith that it won't return to the sort of garbage that has turned me off from Star Trek. I have attempted to watch it and just found it insufferable. This is everything you love about Star Trek, in particular, the characters. And here's what I would argue. What's been a disappointment about whenever they make a Star Trek movie, because I think Star Trek is best as a television show. It just is. Star Trek is best as a TV show. It is episodic television. Certain episodes can explore ideas. You can bring in guest characters and give them featured spots. You can take characters that are minor characters and do a whole episode that focuses on Deanna Troi and her mother, or Worf and his relationships. You can take these other characters you see and really build them up. And what Picard season 3 does in 10, the episodes vary between like 40 and just over an hour minutes. It gives characters that would normally be sidelined in a movie, and it features them full front and center. Characters everything pays off. There's not a wasted line of dialogue in this show. I mean, and I will say this, there are a couple moments in the series where I lost it. They even brought back characters I never thought we would see again and gave them great moments, shocks, surprises, twists, and turns. I was riveted. It does what television does when it's at its best. I couldn't wait to see what happened next. I wasn't able to binge it. I watched each episode week to week. And not just the music, there is starship porn in this. Like, just lovingly. And this is not an original thought, but the starships are characters in this movie. The Titan, which is a starship in this series, that's a character in the film, in this series. There are other things in it. I don't want to get into spoilery stuff. You will be forewarned. But my overall impressions, one of the best TV, it's the best Star Trek I've seen in I can't remember how long. It's a fitting end to the Star Trek The Next Generation series and characters, much better than that god-awful Nemesis, which I thought was terrible. Picard season 1 and 2, don't watch it. Don't watch it. Just watch season 3. And I'm really curious to see not only what the ratings are for Picard season 3, but also what the retention is. Because we learned from Rings of Power that only 1/3 of the people that began watching Rings of Power finished it to the very end. That means you lost more than 60% of your audience said, "Nah, I'm out. I don't want to watch it to the end." I'm really curious to see not just the number of people who watched it, but the number of people who finished the show through the 10 episodes. Now, I did report last week that I went to see the Picard season 3 finale. The last 2 episodes played at IMAX screens. And I went there to try to get tickets. Well, guess what? And I was wearing like a Star Wars t-shirt, and under it I had a Star Trek t-shirt, and it says here, I'll switch from Star Wars to Star Trek for Picard tickets. Well, guess what? I went to the AMC Burbank 16 and it wasn't even playing there. GoFobo is a terrible service. GoFobo didn't work. They had originally listed AMC Burbank 16 as one of the locations where you could get tickets. So I thought, well, I'll just go there. Well, then it's not there. I couldn't even get on the website to see what movie theaters it was playing in. Fathom.
I had the exact same experience. I'll tell you that.
Exactly. Fathom Events, amazing, sir. I buy tickets to Fathom Events things all the time. Love that service. Retrospective screenings, small independent films. I've seen Godzilla movies like The Big Lebowski came for $4.20. You could see it from Fathom Events. GoFobo is garbage. I didn't get in. I didn't even get in. GoFobo is GoFubar, says Uncle Remus, and you're right. So I didn't get in. Didn't matter. I saw it the next day, and I loved it. Alan, your first impressions, just give your sort of, what are your thoughts? And then we will give you a fair warning when we get into spoilers, because I want to talk specifics. If you consider specific scenes, moments, lines, spoilers, and you haven't seen the entirety of season 3, bow out, but you will get a fair warning. Alan, your basic thoughts.
My thoughts. I loved Picard beginning to end. And it saddens me to say this, but we have finally seen the final good Star Trek that will ever exist in all of time and humanity. When it ended, especially the way it ended, and I'm talking the ending, made me feel sad, because there's no payoff after this. We have seen the best that Star Trek can offer, has offered in the last 10 years, and we will never see anything of this quality again. And I'm very sad about that. But at the same time, I'm glad I saw it. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to set you up, Chris, but throughout the entire series, my understanding is all the legacy original TNG characters make appearances. Did they finally bring them all together?
Hey, here's the other thing. You're setting me up to get mad.
I'm setting you up.
You're setting me up to get angry. What was great? They brought all these characters from Star Trek: The Next Generation back, and it happened sort of little by little throughout the series. They put them all in a scene together.
Yeah. Not only
in
that,
fact,
in the original series, none of them, they're never together on the bridge at a time of crisis. They're always in there.
No. It eventually they're all together.
Yes.
Not just in scenes that are dramatic. They're together around a table. They're together on the bridge. They're on they brought the old characters together and they had them do things, and each character had a role. Each character had an arc, and it all paid off, and they're in scenes together. Unlike freaking Star Wars, you're making the sequels to Star Wars, the biggest movie franchise ever in history, the original Star Wars movies. You have Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and they're not in one effing scene together. You should have fired Kathleen Kennedy after that first movie. F Disney Star Wars. This guy, Terry Metalis, I sent out a tweet and I was joking with him on my personal Twitter. I said, because I watched episode 9 of the Picard series, and there's like this thing that happens in that episode that is so freaking cool. I wept. I freaking cried watching a Star Trek show, which I feel stupid even admitting this to you. But I said episode 9 of the Star Trek season 3 of Picard, of season 3 of Picard, is the best episode 9 of anything I've ever seen. Was I trolling Star Wars people? I was, because everyone working at Lucasfilm that didn't think for a minute, we're making new Star Wars movies, Han, Luke, and Leia, we got to reunite them for one last adventure. And let me point this out, which is really angering to me, which is really upsetting, is that someone could have argued, well, no one wants to see the adventures of an old Han Solo or an old Luke Skywalker or an old Princess Leia. Let me tell you this. Picard season 3, the youngest actor in the cast from the season 3 of Picard is LeVar Burton, who is 66 years old. Okay, 66. Patrick Stewart is 80. Gates McFadden, who plays Beverly Crusher, is 74 years old. She looks amazing. They're all old. Michael Dorn, who plays Worf, they're all older people. This is so badass, exciting. You couldn't make a Star Wars movie with Han, Luke, and Leia? F you! You did that to me on purpose, didn't you?
Yeah, I would think that you would have been the one to have called this one out. I mean, you pointed out perfectly. The problem with the Star Trek movies is the entire cast. It usually is focused on Riker and Picard, and everyone else is supporting characters. This one, everyone had their chance to shine, whether it was earlier in the series or Crusher at the end. She does something amazing, and it's for someone who just I was with Next Generation from start to finish. This is I'm sad. I'm sad this is over. Here's how you save. This is how you save Star Trek. You watch Picard season 3. You talk about it. You love it. You tell everyone you love it, and then this needs to get support during award season. When the Emmys and with Critics' Choice, when all those comes out, we need to support this show. This is clearly the best television going on right now, and it needs to gain attention to say that this season of this show is the greatest science fiction, greatest television we have right now.
Well, it should.
We've got to support this. We got to support the people behind this, because the way they set up. If this ever continues, the way they set it up, I'm in. I'm totally in.
But it's not. What they did was, I don't want to say anything. You could do more Star Trek like this.
Mm-hmm.
You could do
they set it up
more.
Metalis set himself up for a job for life.
I hope that he is the new shepherd of Star Trek because he gets it. He understands fans. He understands what they're looking for, and it doesn't feel fan servicey. Yeah, can I the difference like with fan service? Okay, fan service is you've got Finn, John Boyega's character in the Star Wars sequels, the first one, The Force Awakens. He's looking through the Millennium Falcon. He's looking for something and pulls out this little ball that is this device that Luke battles with when he's learning to use his lightsaber. That's fan service. It's like, oh, look, I know what that is. I know what that is. But when you see the way that something that could be considered that in Picard, it's handled with reverence and love and meaning. We should probably say we're getting into spoilers now, but we're not going to do major spoilers. It's just going to be moments. If you haven't seen all of the show, there are moments, but we're not going to get into spoilers in terms of plot or story, but we need to talk about certain moments. So, Finn's character pulls out that ball and you're like, haha, I know what that's from. That's all. It's Star Wars. It's jangling keys. It's look at this, look at this, look at this. You know what that is. Look at this. Back to tank. You know what this, look at this. Whereas in this series, it all meant something. It was meaningful. And whenever there was something that you recognized from the old show, it had weight. So it's not a cameo, but you see Denise Crosby's character from Star Trek The Next Generation is in this in a way that is so clever, that is so, it actually has weight. It means something.
It's vital to what was going on in the scene at that time.
Right, which is Data is battling Lore in his mind. And Denise Crosby's character, why am I spacing on her name right now?
Tasha Yar.
Tasha Yar. They had relations. Data and Tasha Yar had. Data is fully functional, by the way. And Tasha Yar, you see Tasha Yar, but has meaning. And you see that, and it's like, oh, it's used in such a good way, and it's not lingered upon. It's there, but you know what that is. And also, if you don't know what it is, it doesn't matter. But if you know what it is, like, oh, he's losing. His memories are going away, and this is a memory he has of this woman who he clearly had some feelings for, right? So it's used so well. They're not member berries for member berries' sake. Everything matters. And I will say this, why is episode 9 so great? It's such a buildup with the first 8 episodes of getting to like, what is this mystery? You have this amazing, Amanda Plummer plays this character named Vatic, who is fantastic as this chain smoking villain in this ship called the Shrike, which is a great villainy spaceship name, the Shrike. And Vatic is after the Titan. It's got sort of Star Trek 2 Wrath of Khan vibes. And it is so good. The other thing is when you realize that, do you realize that in this entire show, they never go to another planet? It's what they would call, and this is like for people that talk about Star Trek a lot, it's what they call a bottle episode. Bottle episodes all take place on starships. They never go to other locations because that's expensive. It's expensive to have locations shoots, or it's expensive to shoot, like you have to build a different set that's on a planet. If you're just shooting in hallways and bridges and meeting rooms and whatnot, or engine rooms, like those are called bottle episodes. So this show was made very inexpensively, and it's the writing that makes it. Here's my rule. Here's my rule of like how I know something is really good. And we're going to go to your comments soon. If I am watching some entertainment, right, a form of entertainment that's specifically in the sci-fi fantasy realm, superhero realm, whatever. And if the best scenes in that thing that I'm watching are the special effects and action sequences, that's an indicator that it's not very good. But if the best and most memorable scenes are two people talking to each other, literally characters in a room talking to each other about dramatic events that are occurring. And if those scenes are as riveting and exciting, if not more so, than the action sequences, which is okay, that's the sizzle, right? That's the sizzle. But the meaning is added when the dramatic scenes are so powerful, are memorable, and are quotable. And one of my favorite lines from the last episode, if you haven't seen it yet, out of context here, I'm just going to tell you, Worf says, Riker is admonishing Worf, this whole time you had a phaser, you didn't use it. And Worf says, but swords are fun though. I want that on a t-shirt, but swords are fun though.
I will say this.
Everyone's at the top of their game, and it makes me want to go back and watch the original Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Wait.
I love this show, and this is the closing of the chapter. It's like they took the season finale or a last season of Star Trek: The Next Generation, melded it with the epic scale of a movie with all of Starfleet. I mean, all of Starfleet is in peril here, and we're somehow able to solve all this. Plus, it involves, and this is in the first episode, is the first or second episode, it's revealed, Captain Picard has a son named Jack. And all of the way this all plays out is so well planned, so epic. I cannot praise it enough. And something like this needs to be successful to let them know, hey, this is what we respond to. This modern entertainment storytelling is BS. None of that, more of this. Sorry, Alan, I interrupted you.
Yeah, this whole series, I mentioned on Wednesday, I just finished watching Dick Tracy, the serial, The Adventures of Captain Marvel, the serial. This is a serial. Every goddamn episode ends with this cliffhanger where you're literally saying to yourself, how the hell are they going to get out of this one? The most memorable cliffhanger in this season was Riker throwing Picard off the bridge because he essentially killed everyone on the ship. And I'm like, God damn it, how are they going to fix this one? How are they going to? And then at the end of episode 9, instead of one of this tragic cliffhangers, it was the Enterprise is back. And the crew is going back to their home, and and you knew right off the bat, you knew even before the last episode was they're gonna save the day on the old Enterprise. And I'm like, okay, this is an amazing series. This is everything I wanted as a fan of the Next Generation.
This is not just this as a fan of Next Generation. Why couldn't William Shatner's alive?
Yeah.
And not only is William Shatner alive, he is spry and ready for action. Yeah. I saw an interview with him that was conducted recently in March at the South by Southwest Film Festival. Go to the South by Southwest YouTube channel. There's an interview with William Shatner done by Tim League of the Alamo Drafthouse that Tim can't keep up with Bill.
Yeah.
Make something with Shatner. Have a proper send-off to Captain James T.
He has a freaking documentary out right now, and he just talks about life, his philosophy of life.
There's a review of that documentary at filmthreat.com.
I wrote that one.
Yeah, you wrote it. It's called My Name is Bill.
You can call me Bill.
No, you can call me Bill. That's right. You can call me Bill.
Yeah.
But
it's
if only the reverence and the utter Terry Matalas understands Star Trek. Mm-hmm. He understands character. He knows good writing. Obviously, he wrote and directed many of the episodes. Not all of them, but I was just I can't wait to get this on a 4K Blu-ray. I mean, I'll watch it streaming again, whatever, but I want to get the Blu-ray of this. That's how good this is. I've not been this excited about anything Star Trek since, I don't know, I can't remember.
No, probably First Contact, maybe.
Maybe First Contact. It's really yeah. And it's also, if only this type of respect for legacy was what was part of the new Star Wars, we wouldn't constantly be talking about why Star Wars is dead. The people that are running Star Wars right now have no idea what they're doing. Now, that's not an original take. A lot of people have said this. It just makes me sad for what could have been when Carrie Fisher was still alive. So, F Disney.
I hate to say it, but this conspiracy theorist in me says that this is all intentional. that
What's
maybe
intentional?
that the destruction of the things we love that our generation, Gen X, loved.
Yeah.
Yes, it just seems like there's just slow dismantling of all that. Of
Yeah,
taking
like
away
this,
the things we love.
the dismantling of heroes, because the new heroes are the better ones, because they have the better ideas, because we're living in the present, and all those things you guys used to do 10 years ago, you're awful. By the way, see Attack of the Doc, because there are comments on that. Attack of the Doc comments on what many call presentism, which is viewing the past through the lens of the present as a way to judge the past. My documentary, Attack of the Doc, a little bit of commentary there, nothing lectury, just good films ask questions, and bad films tell you what to think. That's sort of who said that? We were talking about this last night at dinner.
Which one was it? What was the quote again?
The quote is, good films ask questions, and good entertainment asks questions. Bad entertainment tells you what to think. We are living in an age of bad entertainment. We're just living in an age of where most entertainment is bad, not just for regular reasons of that was just a bad movie, not a woke movie, not a lectury movie, just a bad movie. Okay, those have always existed. But good entertainment asks questions, meaning you're free to come up with your own answer to those questions. So there you go. Think about that for a moment.
I will note that the episode 9, when basically everyone under 25 turned into Borg and become this collective hive mind. I don't know if you saw in Chicago, there's this publicity stunt for that episode where all the teens kind of gathered in the park, and never mind. Keep going.
Could Alan, you might want to repeat that. What were you saying again? What were you saying about the Borg?
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes. No. In as part of episode 9, when all the teens are turned into Borg in this one collective hive mind, they did a publicity stunt for that in Chicago.
Your humor, Alan. Your humor. No. Actually, but I found that you could read into it, right? When the sort of hive mind takes over, you could read something into it that young people are kind of possessed by a mind virus. The mind virus is taken over society, or it is attempting to take over society in all levels, in our institutions, in our colleges and universities, and even our schools, our elementary schools, in entertainment. There is a mind virus that is taking over. I don't think that necessarily Picard season 3 is directly commenting on that, but you could read some things into it. Let's go to your comments here. I want to hear what you think about Picard season 3. Imperfect. If I watch season 3, will it tarnish my memories of TNG? I love TNG. No, it will not tarnish anything. It'll make you love it more. Okay, we got a lot of comments here from people.
Yeah, it's about more than the movies, definitely.
Yeah. No money. G for 5. Terry did a great job with the mess of previous seasons and the time/money crunch he had to deal with. Great show, guys. Hashtag Terry Trek. Bring back Terry Trek. Anonymous really enjoyed Picard season 3. Was a lot of fun and a nice send-off for TNG. Bill S. Preston Esquire. Terry Metalis has brought fun back to Star Trek. Dude B. It was a bit cheesy. It was a bit silly, a bit too cheap, a bit too fan service. It was a bit too old, but that makes great Star Trek. Terry really respects the fans and legacy, says Mob 19001. Imperfect says, can we get a Gore rant about seasons 1 and 2 of Discovery? I only ever watched the first 4 episodes of season 1 of Discovery, and I thought it was awful. And then what I did was I watched videos of Red Letter Media talking about it and was like, yeah, I never need to see that. I never need to see it. Let's be honest. Alex Kurtzman is behind the red door, says Ryan Landis. Yeah, true. Sanjuro, you can go from the Nemesis movie right into Picard season 3 and it fits. You actually can. There's almost no information they don't catch you up on of things that happened in Picard season 1 and 2. There are a few things that happen, like he's been basically on that farm and whatever. So Smokin' Joe says, I'm interested now. Porn ears perked up. Haha, says JTPRX, who's a member. Thank you for that. Solomon Thornton, the season is balanced. Legacy characters are great, and the new people are great. See, that was the thing that surprised me, that the new characters were so good. Just good writing. I grew up on Next Generation and reruns on the BBC OG show. Had a crush on Deanna Troi as a kid. I'm surprised they all look so good. Pedram says, 2 things that didn't make sense to me were how easy Jack went back to the Borg and how Robot Picard connected to the collective. Having said that, I didn't care because the rest was chef's kiss.
Yeah. I mean, there are things you're just going to let slide because it's just going great. It's like, why question it?
Tucker time. Picard season 3 was stellar. I haven't been this excited for new episodes in forever. I never stay up until midnight to watch a new episode. This changed that. Hey, Jeff Tucker. Am I going to see you tonight at the premiere of Attack of the Doc? Let me know, dude. I sent you Jeff Tucker. He's supposed to be there tonight. All right, we're going to get through most of these. 21 Palaka. Yes, not a lot of action, but smaller human stories and grand finales. Snakes and Funerals. No, wait. Okay.
I think there was a lot of action.
There was a lot of action, I thought.
Yeah.
I disagree. Patrick Lemire says, but did Picard season 3 save Kurtzman's job? That's my problem. That, and this is Picard bot. Now that this is done, they'll return to Kurtzman Trek. I wish they would have set it up so SIS season 1 and 2 could be ignored.
So, yeah, my feeling is if nothing happens as a result of this, it's all about ego. That Kurtzman doesn't want anyone messing around with his toys, and he made a mistake by giving it to Terry Metalis.
Alan,
ego,
not Pip-Boy Gamer. What would you rate it out of 10?
Oh, a 69 out of 10.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Justin C says Todd Stashwick was great as Shaw. I would love to see him return.
Yeah.
No. There's a way to do it. There's a way to do it.
There's no way to do it without.
Yeah, there is.
There's just no.
Yeah, there is. Ramina Jones.
I agree. He needs his own show.
Ramina Jones agreed. It does not tell you what to think, but provokes questions. That's what all entertainment should do. And then you within yourself can come to your own conclusions. That's what we should be teaching children in school. That's what our journalists should be doing. That's what all of society needs to do. That's what everyone on social media needs to do. Less judgment, more questions, more questioning, so to speak, and not in the alphabet mafia sense. Ryan Landis says, I ask a lot of questions during bad fiction. Questions like WTF. Patrick Lemire, they don't know and they don't care. And they don't care that they don't know. Hullabaloo, hello computer, 8 out of 10, just because the finale could have had more cameos in museum ships. Imagine Voyager, Refit, Constitution, Stargazer, and others protecting Starbase.
Or the Defiant. Was the Defiant?
Yeah. Yeah. Mob 19001, member berries in Star Trek equals legacy and lore fans want. Kim Jung-poon says, what I want to know is where did they get the Star Drive section for this Enterprise D restoration? I assume of another decommissioned Galaxy class.
Yeah, Jordy got it off eBay.
Yeah, Starbay. What Star Trek character would Chris and Alan play in the series? Says Beg for Mercy.
All I know is I know I'd be wearing a red shirt.
Yeah. Snakes and Funerals says, no one cares how you feel is what a lot of people in Hollywood need to hear. Well, there's issues with, I think there's a generation of, novice people entering the entertainment industry that need a little bit more experience before they're elevated to positions of power. They need to be mentored and not this stupid concept of reverse mentoring. Like they know and have all the answers, which I remember when I was a kid, a teenager, I thought I knew everything. I was a, how do I say this? I was a fucking moron when I was a teenager. Now, I was more interested in things. I read a lot of books, went to a lot of weird independent films, but I didn't know shit about life. Needed a little bit more life experience. It's
by the way, I think we got a rumble buck. I don't know what they call him.
Yeah.
But from Winter Soldier, Rumble Ghetto, this is the way 69.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
69. Now Rumble has to be caught up on all this 69 nonsense. We're going to be hearing it constantly from Rumble. 69's in the chat if you're watching live on Rumble. 221 Palika says it's almost like Star Trek did what Disney Star Wars didn't. Star Trek is Alan grinning like a kid who got all the cake, says Fletcher Williams. I suck at games channel. And then Star Trek is greater than Star Wars, says Kevin Plopper. And Samuel Ayrton says, we want what we want and we want it told well. Fan service done well is their bloody job. And our final comment on this topic today, Ryan Landis says, Chris has PT Star Wars SD. PTSWSD. And there you go.
Hey, let me bring up one Rumble chat.
Please, a Rumble rant.
Yeah. Dread Seamus says, LOL, you convinced me to see 2 horror movies in the theater and sit down and watch Picard season 3. Good job, Passion Boys.
Thank you. Well, thank you. And we're excited to be on Rumble now. It's weird because we have some videos on Rumble. We get more views than on YouTube. We've got like a couple 100,000 views. Then we have other videos that get 12 views. So obviously I think being recommended is really important, right, Alan?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why is this not growing?
Yeah. And then, I don't know. So Alan, like how difficult was it to because I believe in you. How difficult, Alan, was it to get set up live on Rumble? Because we'll be here every week. We will be here every week if we can set up the stream to be live on Rumble on Wednesdays, 1 p.m. and Fridays, 9 a.m. Pacific time. Alan, 10 seconds.
Cut the blue wire, then cut the red wire, but only if the third wire is yellow.
Alan, I know you can do it, Alan. Do it.
Pull the flange.
Hold on, Alan. Hold on.
69.
Alan, 1 second. Perfect.
Sparkle.
What? All right. And that about wraps it up for us today. Tonight is the premiere of Attack of the Dock. Attack of the Dock is coming out. Premiere is tonight. Tickets are still on sale. I know there are tickets left for the 10:15 and the 5:30. The 8 p.m. is sold out. I will be there along with Alan. We'll be doing a Q&A after each of those screenings. Alan is moderating the Q&A. Zach,
are you going to do anything special for the Q&A? Well, I'm looking forward to it. That's
link is in the description. Plus, everyone who shows up gets a collectible alt poster for Attack of the Dock, only available if you see the film in person. Alan, what do you got coming up this weekend?
Oh, well, the Attack of the Dock premiere. That's pretty much it.
Oh, that's right.
I'll be painting. I believe we'll live stream the painting on Sunday afternoon.
Oh, so Sunday. Okay, yeah. Alan is painting because people hate his pink background. He's redoing his bedroom. There will be a live stream for members. Is it for members only? Or are you going to just...
Yeah, for members only.
Yeah, for members only. Alan will be live streaming and taking your questions during the painting. Alan, I'm going to be online. I'm going to be watching. Should I join you and make fun of you?
Yeah, I mean...
Don't paint that way.
When are you not doing that?
It's fine. Yeah, so Alan will literally, you can watch a live stream watching paint dry. We'll probably post on our regular channel, on the main channel and on Rumble, just a video of of like the highlights of it. We'll post like a little,
maybe a
little edited video of the highlights. We are Film Threat. Please like, share, subscribe. We're Film Threat on everything: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are now on Rumble. Also, if you like the t-shirts that Alan and I are wearing, you can go to shop.filmthreat.com and check it out. All sorts of Film Threat t-shirts inspired by maybe some of your favorite movie logos. So Alan has Film Threat the 13th. I have sort of Back to the Film Threat. So there you go. And one thing I'm fond of saying is Film Threat t-shirts cure nudity on contact. It's a patented technology. If you are tired of being nude, you can look. How many times have many of us gone out in public and thought to myself, if only I was wearing a shirt, I wouldn't be naked from the waist up. What can I do? How can I solve this problem? Well, Film Threat t-shirts are here to keep you from being arrested. Go to shop.filmthreat.com, get a Film Threat t-shirt, pick whatever one you like. You will no longer be nude from the waist up. And hashtag Film Threat, and we'll repost your best photos. Alan, what else you got?
Keep visiting us at filmthreat.com for the best and greatest independent films coming out today.
All right, and take us out. And thank you to everyone. Thank you for everyone in the chat. We appreciate you. We'll be back next week. I will be in Vegas at the FNT meetup at the Millennium Fandom Bar on Wednesday night. I will be there. So look for me. And then next week, a week from today, Alan will have seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He is going to a screening on
Thursday.
On Thursday, April 27th, our first reactions, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, a week from today. You don't want to miss it. I'll be in Vegas. Alan will be here in wherever he is in California.
Orange County, yeah.
Orange County. And Alan, and thank you to the people on Rumble. There you go. Alan Burleson became a YouTube member. Thank you for that. Alan, what else do you have to say?
Let's get out of here.
Wait, I want to...
Yeah, we got to get rid of that.
Get rid of the comment. Wait, try it again.
Yeah, got it. Let's get out of here.
Wait, one more time. One more time.
Let's get out of here.